Switch to 80 euro per game.
What?
Hello. Yeah.
I mean,
We're making this video because a couple of days ago Nintendo announced the pricing for the Switch 2 games. It's in the levels of PS5 and Xbox XSS, I don't know how they call it now.
well, it is a very hardcore console.
Yes, but
Not
still,
an outlet.
it's like if you're saying that the Switch 2 games will be 70 and 80 euros now,
I mean,
it's very sad.
it's been a long time since we said that it was too much to give 50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other consoles already in 70 euros, but there's inflation stuff, and yeah, things are getting more expensive. And games have not really gotten much more expensive lately. But there was also this, I think it was Activision CEO that said that the games should be priced at 100 euros.
Yeah, and everybody called him
Yeah.
various names.
The quadruple A games that they make. I don't know if it was Ubisoft. I don't know. It was one of the big two.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter at this point.
Uh,
It was a big company, and they said a really controversial thing.
Well, look, the way the CEO sees it says that you go to the cinema and for 2 euros you pay 20 euros for 2 hours of entertainment, maybe 3. And the game says gives you 10 times this entertainment. But it doesn't cost 200 euros, it will only cost 80 euros or 90. And you will get 10 times entertainment from cinema or from theater. That's the
argument, yeah.
argument that they give you much more hours of entertainment, so you have to pay. So you pay too little already, considering how much hours we give you to play with yourself. That sounded weird, but yeah, or with other people to play all together.
Yeah.
Sounded weird. Anyway, point being that I was shocked to hear Switch 2 in the 80 euros area because the games from Nintendo consoles. I mean, I love Nintendo consoles. I only had Nintendo consoles in my life, but they were always after the Super NES. They were always reasonably priced because they were lower specs, so they had much less art to make for them. Lower polygons, the smaller levels usually.
The capabilities of the console were
Not too much FMPAs. Yeah, they had those. Nintendo 64, etc. They had these cartridges that were much smaller. GameCube had discs, I think, but didn't have normal discs. I don't remember what happened to GameCube.
GameCube had discs.
Yeah.
But it was a
It was
certain
not
type.
cheap. It was a new type.
Yeah, it was a certain type of disc. I don't remember.
They were Switch now. Switch, it was.
It's digital.
Yeah, it's digital, but still the games are a bit lower because the specs are lower than the PlayStation 5 and Xbox 6.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's debatable because we don't own a console like that. We don't own the Switch, so we don't know. I've heard that.
I've seen the videos online, yeah. Gameplay videos from the latest Zelda. Like the latest Zelda doesn't look like a PS5 game. It looks like
it's a comparison.
No, just see the game in the video. People play the new Zelda.
All right.
I mean, even Switch 2 is DLSS and it will be much better with AI frames, etc.
Okay.
Still, I don't feel like I want to pay 80 euros for one. Plus, Nintendo doesn't have that thing.
Yes.
That you have in. Maybe it starts having it, but it doesn't have this, that you can easily exchange all their games by.
Yeah, the store. You mean the store?
I mean, physically. I think the Switch 2 will have some kind of cartridges again.
Yeah.
Be able to store the game like SD Super Express cards.
Yeah, something like that.
And you will put the game in these so you don't link your CD or something anymore. You download, put in the card, and when you want,
But you still have to download it.
And I think that this way you cannot. You cannot sell the old game. I mean, let's say I give 80 euros to a Switch 1 game.
Yeah.
It's a disc, I think.
Well,
or it's the cartridge, whatever it is.
Well, if you download it and put it in the cartridge, technically you could.
Could I? Or is it tied to your account?
Oh.
And someone else cannot activate it. Because
Didn't think
when we had the CDs and the old cartridge of the NES, Super NES, Yeah, they would just push it around. I might give 50 euros, no, the equivalent in drachmas back then, for an NES game. But I could sell it and get my money, some of my money back to buy something else.
Yeah, true.
Now in the digital era, and this is not only for Switch, I mean, Switch was just the clickbait.
Yeah.
But in the digital era, when every game is digital, how can I sell my old game that I put 80 euros in for it?
You don't.
Yes, I can.
And that is how the big companies made it. I mean, the idea is to sell more games. The idea is profit. And because you have a company, you need profit. You need to pay your employees.
That's why they have those bloody passes, which make the console like Netflix, that you pay the Xbox Pass or the PlayStation Pass or the Nintendo Pass. And
It's ridiculous.
I don't remember if Nintendo has one. I think it will have one now. Anyway, the Xbox and PlayStation already have it. It will now for sure. And you can play games. Okay. But you can only play these games while they are in the past duration and you lose them.
Yeah.
So it's a completely game Netflix situation, which I don't like.
And also, you still sometimes, what was frustrating that I heard one back, I don't remember, that you would buy a game. Normally, you would have it, you would download it.
Yeah, play it.
And play it and have it. Technically, you would have the data.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, maybe, the store would just remove the game, and that would mean that you will not be able to play it.
Yeah. This is different. A little different from what I was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
This is also happening.
But it's
about digital ownership and ownership in games, and we can take it even further this way to game preservation. If you cannot preserve, and this also ties to our previous video with day one patches. Because if you get the CD or the cartridge of a game and to preserve it for, I don't know, like future emulation in 20 years, and you will not support it, you will not have the final game in the disc or the cartridge. Because it will miss all those hundreds of gigabytes of patches.
Yeah, and if you don't have the patch magazines from the magazines to put them, you have a broken game.
But yes, in general, game pricing is too much for culture. That's why
it has to go up for something that gives you less.
For example, the last console we bought was a used Wii U from a guy with some used games. Because of this, you put them in the Wii U, you play them, no problem. He sold us also the games very cheap. But
it all goes back to
we have something
what can be sold, and now data is sold, and ownership is
diminishing.
Yeah.
Essentially, there is no ownership.
No,
they tell you get the games for, but if I get the games only for like a little bit, I cannot own it, I cannot resell it.
Then why 80 euros?
You buy 80 euros, yeah. Sell it for me for 30 euros. Why not? Something that reflects the value that I get.
I think that was the point that CEO was making. Because when you go to the movies, when you go to the cinema, you don't have the movie. You rent time. You rent time.
This is
that's probably the point he was making, to rent the time. You're renting so much time that you're actually paying fair and less than what you should be paying. And which is, again, stupid, because at least in the cinema, you don't have your own equipment, which you've bought.
True.
To play those games, you need to have your own equipment. And you have... You can always opt out of that.
Yeah.
But you cannot opt out of not having a console or your computer. And your computer needs to have some certain specs, which means if you have some certain specs, you have given a certain amount of money for it. So you've already given it's like you bought the cinema to rent time.
True. And because one thing leads to another, when they think like that and they price games like that, then the only viable solution for the consumer is to go to the passes, because they cost less and they allow you to play the games.
And go to the Netflix situation.
Yeah, and then you go to the Netflix situation where you just browse games, you download like 200 gigabytes to your console, you play the game for as long as it's in the pass, because then you lose the right to play.
Why you still need to buy it though? even if it's for a lower price, but you still need to give money. You give more money for that.
Anyway, it's frustrating
Yeah.
to say the least. It's just frustrating what happens with the retro stores like the one Nintendo has. That
Oh,
the virtual console, as it says, that it's selling you NES and Super NES games. So I had some games in my Wii, and I bought some, I think, in my Wii U, a couple of them. But in the Wii, I had bought quite a lot from the NES to remember the good old days. And now I cannot play them anymore. So I bought them and fucking what? Because I changed the console, I lost everything. And I think, I don't know if the shop, I think the shop has closed and the DS shop has closed.
Yeah.
So even if you have bought the games, you have not downloaded them, I don't think you can download them anymore.
yes.
So why did I pay for these games? Just for 2 years? I mean,
True.
I paid because I wanted to play them forever. And then people will go to emulation, bad word. But yeah, this is where we will go. I mean,
Yeah, in the end, I think that whoever has actually invested in preserving games might.
and yeah, how much does it cost to
Yes.
Nintendo or any other company to keep a retro shop open? I mean, the NES games are like 500 kilobytes each. The Super NES games are like 3 megabytes.
I think they're just copying American.
How much
Anyway.
does it cost to keep the service up forever? Wouldn't be just a little code somewhere? And people get back to play as long as I have my Wii console that is running, I would be able to re-download the game I bought. Why not?
I hope a theory,
Oh, like a Gale theory.
a company theory.
Oh my god. Yes.
Or that there's probably like a few employees that are left just waiting to retire, holding the server for the old games because they love it, because they made it, because whatever. And when they are, retired, people be like, someone needs to keep it up and running. And it's like, no one wants to, no one cares. So, okay, shut it down. Something like that. I mean, it's like the final employee that was keeping up the servers.
Great. Was fired.
Weird, yeah. And, or they're just looking at what Americans do, and they just copy that because Americans.
No, because no, that doesn't apply for Japan because Japan always had these kind of tactics. I mean, you might have not started much into the history. Not only the FOMO, they had the Satellaview.
Yeah, you're right.
Even from NES era, which you only played games for an unlimited amount of time. I mean, this was very revolutionary back then.
So it's the other way around.
Yeah.
The Americans are copying the Japanese.
Yeah, because with Satellaview, you had the satellite dish, so you were downloading the game from the satellite. You could only play it when the satellite was broadcasting, and then you would lose it forever.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, they had these things before the Americans, as you say, did these things. I mean,
Before it was cool.
yeah, in Japan, they always had this take it or lose it, or you will take it and you will lose it mentality. In the gene.
They really don't get.
I don't know.
It's a very weird philosophy. Why Japan? Why? Why Nintendo?
And to go back, 80 euros.
Yeah.
Go back to the beginning. Not only for a Switch game, even for the games that there are other consoles that are 80 euros in a long time now. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It's 80 euros. Okay. You, as a company, you put it 80 euros. You want more money. Okay. You don't give discs. You don't give art. You don't give anything.
Well, anyway, there are collector's editions that cost like 100, 200 euros, which give those things.
They're collector's editions.
Yeah,
They
you
give
get
them-
little statues. That they
Yeah,
give.
you can price those however you like because they're collector's editions.
Yeah.
Like what? 50 people will buy them?
Yeah, but in the old times, they used to have a digital art, physical art book. Now they're all digital. They give you digital soundtrack, digital art.
Yeah. And they don't give you digital anything if you buy it in the first not collector's edition price.
Silent Hill.
So
Sorry, thanks.
no, it's fine. But what I
Because
was
it's the only collector edition I bought. That's why.
everything is digital and it has an access point wall, like a portal, like the server, like
Sure.
whatever. and they don't get it's not like you need your own equipment. You need your own console, your own computer, and
Okay, so I'm grabbing this opportunity that Gail got stuck. And I will talk about Silent Hill 2. That's the only collectible I bought recently, in the last 3 years, 4. Which had a great digital art book, but it was digital. I literally have to go out and print it in order to put it in my library. There are books that we have that I cannot show you now. That right there, we have quite a lot of art books.
so you got art. How you did?
Yeah, I will keep the PDF at least. They cannot stop me from having it. They cannot stop the PDF from existing.
Well, they nearly could, but yeah, they cannot. The thing is, you don't get anything with the basic game. And having it so high up when most of your gamers and most people with enough money.
I will disagree.
They do have some money, yes. They would buy your games.
Depends on the country. Depends on the country. In some countries they are.
Well, those some countries sometimes they don't care about video games anyway.
And
I mean,
I will not get into this discussion in this video.
it is another discussion, that is true. But who buy those games?
I will not play.
Many people will buy those games, but it's like you don't want your own market.
Well, for us,
No work.
as you said, for us at least, the only game that we bought in the last years that was like day one buy was Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
And I also bought Doom 26. No, that was 9 years ago now. Okay. I don't remember another game that we bought like Escape from Monkey Island, the new Monkey Island. That was cheap. That was 30, 40 euros.
Priced.
What we do is that we wishlist the games and we wait for the email that will say 40% off. Only then we buy.
Mostly.
Only then. It might be 1 year later, 2 years later. Usually it's only 3 months later.
Sometimes it's 5 years later.
Usually just 3-4 months now. Because the games have much more shorter size.
I have Skyrim in my wishlist for 8 years straight. What do you mean?
Skyrim is immortal and it's practical. But the other games that I have wishlisted for us to buy and play, usually they get a 40% sale after 3-4 months. Usually, not always.
Well, mostly after a year.
And games that I don't really want to play a lot, but I want to play, I wait so they go to the 70-80% sale, which takes around 1 to 1.5 years. I don't have FOMO. Personally, that's why I don't care. I want to experience the game. I don't care if 200 people, 1 million people experience it before me. I will experience myself sometimes. Seeing the video on the internet of someone else playing, us for example, is not the same as playing it yourself. It's never the same. It's not the same. You don't get the experience. You get some entertainment maybe, but you get zero experience from that. The experience is playing it yourself, especially horror games.
Yeah. Not only, but yes.
And action games, yeah. All kinds of games, yeah. But maybe not so much for puzzle games. For puzzle games, if you see the solution of the puzzle, it's destroyed for you. But all other games, I think.
Yeah, okay, but it's not the same. Puzzle games have the idea that sometimes they're randomized, and if they're not, it's about the experience of how you solved it yourself. So if you don't want to be a puzzle solver, why are you playing this game?
Others do.
I mean,
I don't know.
Anyway, but that's besides the point. The point was that is a big price.
I think we've said enough.
We
can stop this video now. Like, subscribe, hate us, love us, I don't know.
So if you would buy games even if they were 100, like that's you.
I think anyone will buy it. 100 is a psychological barrier. I don't know if it's get to 3 digits. I don't think anyone will give those one.
No, let's say it's 99.99. If you saw it, something like that, 99.95, because I've seen that. If you see such a price, would you buy it if it was Nintendo or I don't know, another favorite company? Write in the comments, like, subscribe, because we like to think that people like us.
Still do. So bye.